Okay, here's a basic blues pattern. This is 12-bar blues. That means there's 12 groups of 4 beats, and we're going to be using a D chord, a G chord, and an A chord on our D strum stick. That's open, 3rd fret, and 4th fret, holding all the strings. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's we did 3 groups of 4. That's 12 bars. So let's look at that again. We've got the D chord for 4 bars, 4 measures. 2, and 2, and 1, and 1, and 1, and 2, 1. So that's a basic 12-bar blues. That's the rhythm pattern. Into a little faster would be. Now, one of the things that makes the blues have its character is that the chord changes will often happen on the and just before the next beat. So instead of going, if I've gone 1, 2, 3, 4. See, I went up to that, and there's the 1 and 1, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 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 1 and 2 and 3. You could call that anticipating the beat, or coming in on the offbeat ahead of the beginning of the measure. Here's what that sounds like. Now, to give this more character than those just plain monotonous chords, of course, if you were singing with a gravelly voice about some song of woe that had befallen you, it would be more interesting. But in the meantime, if we add a little bit of a melody going in, I'm just squeezing the second string at the 1st fret, and I'm going open, on, open, on. That's all it is. It's open and then it's on, and then it's open and it's on. Now I'm playing that 3rd fret notes with my 1st finger. You can use your 3rd finger to do the same thing you were doing down here, but you're going from the 3rd fret to the 4th fret. And then at the 4th fret, we're going to add into the 5th fret with the 3rd finger. Don't worry about anticipating the chord. We'll just do these straight. And when you've got a chord change coming up, you might leave out the last strum, so you have a little space to change the chord in, like. I kind of choke that note off, I'm squeezing it and releasing it. So it gives it a little punctuation. That sounds different then. So you've got... And then you could do what's called a triplet, which is you go da 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 da. This is down, up, down, down. That would be down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, which is just down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. But the timing is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you're going to kind of accent it so that you have down, up, down, up. Accent means just strum a little harder. So that's down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And again, all I'm doing is... So if I have no accents there, you wouldn't know what the actual beat was. But by accenting... you get that triplet feel. And you'll hear that at the end of phrases in blues. So if I've got... So far I'm doing this with all down strums. Down, 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 down. If you want to make it a little more interesting again, you could go down, up, down, 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 down. And then one more thing, we could add a walking bass line. And the bass line for a very typical bass line for a 12-bar blues will be open, 2nd fret, 4th fret, 5th fret, 6th fret. And then we're using that extra note we give you with this extra flatted 7th fret. So that's the 6th fret. And you can just be strumming. I'm going to punctuate those notes because it makes them stand out more. You don't have to do that when you're first learning the pattern, but here's what that would sound like. So that's the pattern on the D chord. On the C chord, we're holding our bar here at the 3rd fret with the 1st finger. So now you're going to have to get your pinky into the act. So you may want to stretch and limber up that pinky, and it may take a little while to get used to squeezing with your pinky. If you've got a bigger hand than mine, you might be able to do it with your 3rd finger. But we're going to go 3rd fret, 5th fret, 3rd fret, 5th fret. Then the 2nd string held by the 1st finger, so that's kind of like it's open. It's just already there. Then we're at the 4th fret. I'm using my 3rd finger now. And now we're going to bend that note. Give it a good push sideways. Yeah, it hurts a little if your fingers aren't used to it, so take it slow. You could even tune your Strumstick down to C instead of in D, and then things are easier to stretch. Now, I could keep holding the whole chord, but I think it's easier when you do that stretch to kind of let go of the chord, do your push, then play that note, the 3rd fret note, and then back to the 5th fret note with your pinky, just leaving everything else kind of open. It's okay to do that if you want to. And on the A chord, it's very similar. Here we are at the 4th fret. So I'm playing the 4th fret and the 7th fret. Then the 2nd string is at the 4th fret. Then the 5th fret. Now here I don't have to stretch because I've got this convenient flatted 7th fret right there. You can either slide the 3rd finger or use your pinky. and then you would go back to the C. And then there's an ending pattern for the D. So that would be open, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, stretch that 3rd fret over, and you can't push it very far that way because there's no fretboard there, so you got to pull it. And then 5th, let's do that. 5th, sorry, I'll give you those notes again. Open, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, stretch, 4th, 5th, 4th fret, and now here's that whole sequence. We'll do it like that. We don't need really the bend there necessarily. And then so there's a little bit of blues for you on your Strumstick.